Breaking news! This is the kind of situation that makes or breaks a franchise, and right now, the Cleveland Browns are teetering on the edge of that precipice, staring into the fog of uncertainty. I'm going to tell you everything that's going on around the Browns, so hit the like button and follow me. Just imagine, 4 quarterbacks, 1 starting spot, and a fan base desperate for clarity after years of instability in the team's leadership. But here's where it gets really interesting. Not only are the Browns facing one of the most complex quarterback competitions in recent NFL history, they also have a new weapon on the outside. And he's not holding back. Jerry Jeudy, the newly acquired wide receiver from the Denver Broncos, came in with a sizable contract and even bigger expectations. Before even playing it down in Cleveland, the front office showed their faith in him with a major deal. And if his recent comments are any indication, Jeudy understands the stakes. When speaking to ESPN, Jeudy pulled no punches about how tricky it is to build chemistry when the guy throwing the ball could change week to week. It is pretty difficult because you want to always build that relationship with a quarterback and have that consistency throughout the years, he said. But as a receiver going through that, you just got to keep working and you got to learn how to adjust no matter what. That's not just lip service. Last season, once Jameis Winston stepped in for an injured Deshaun Watson, Jeudy looked like a legitimate WR1, flashing the route running and explosiveness that made him a first-round pick. He proved he could produce with the right quarterback, and now the Browns are banking on him doing it again, no matter who wins the job. But here's the twist. If Jeudy had a vote, he might be leaning toward Joe Flacco, the seasoned vet who's never afraid to throw deep and can operate Kevin Stefanski's offense with sharp efficiency. Still, with Flacco nearing the end of his career, what's the real upside? And that's the dilemma. The Browns aren't just choosing a Week 1 starter, they're auditioning potential future faces of the franchise. Enter Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, and Dillon Gabriel. Pickett, the former first-round pick from Pittsburgh, arrives in Cleveland trying to shake the label of bust after a rough stint with the Steelers. He was shipped off after just 24 starts, 13 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions, a statistical line that left little optimism in Pittsburgh. But Browns insiders suggest head coach Kevin Stefanski still believes there's untapped potential in the Pitt product. NFL Network's Cameron Wolfe reports Stefanski wants to get more out of him and sees the possibility of a Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold-style revival. But let's pump the brakes for a second. This isn't a classic redemption arc. Pickett's resume pales in comparison to those two, and if Steelers fans are to be believed, his ceiling isn't much higher than a backup QB. Cleveland fans, take note, the Steelers moved on from Pickett because they saw the ceiling, and it wasn't high enough. His athleticism didn't translate, his decision-making lagged, and the spark he showed in college dimmed fast against NFL defenses. That's not just noise, that's reality. So where does that leave us? With Flacco and Pickett likely leading the race into training camp, the Browns are caught between reliability and wishful thinking. Flacco is steady and experienced, but he's not the future. Pickett has a name and a past pedigree, but little to suggest he's ready to lead. That brings us to the wild cards, Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. Both rookies are long-term projects, taken late in the draft, but they've already started turning heads in minicamp, especially Sanders, who reportedly impressed the coaching staff with his poise and command. Still, no one expects them to start Week 1. What the Browns need to determine, quickly, is whether either of them can become the long-term answer. Because here's the kicker, Cleveland holds 2 draft picks in 2026, a draft loaded with quarterback talent. If none of these 4 step up, this front office will almost certainly reset the clock again and go hunting for another franchise guy. The Browns aren't just battling for a QB1, they're battling for direction. For identity. For answers that fans have been craving for years. And amid all this, Jerry Jeudy's role becomes even more pivotal. He's the barometer. If he can thrive regardless of who's throwing the ball, he becomes the anchor of the passing game. But if inconsistency creeps in, it'll be glaringly obvious which QBs aren't cutting it. So Browns Nation, we're standing on the edge of one of the most fascinating quarterback battles in franchise history. Veterans versus rookies. Experience versus upside. Can Pickett rise from the ashes? Will Flacco hold on one last time? Or is it time for a fresh face to take the reins? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And while fans argue over stats, potential, and arm strength, let's not forget the man orchestrating all of this, Kevin Stefanski. His offensive system demands precision, timing, and adaptability, traits that, so far, Flacco seems to possess in spades. He stepped in last season midstream and made it look like he'd been running Stefanski's scheme for years. That poise, that ability to get the ball out quickly and make smart decisions, isn't just something to glance over. It's exactly what this team needs, especially with the brutal start to the 2025 season staring them down. But Stefanski and GM Andrew Berry aren't just planning for week 1, they're looking at the next 5 years. And that's where things get cloudy. Joe Flacco isn't going to be here for the long haul. Kenny Pickett might not be the answer, but the front office is giving him every chance to prove otherwise. Remember, this isn't just about talent, it's about belief. The Browns' leadership believes they can develop something in Pickett that neither Pittsburgh nor Philly could. But belief alone doesn't win football games. Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders for a moment. He wasn't supposed to be the storyline this early. A day 3 pick, unpolished but with that intangible swagger inherited from his Hall of Fame father, Deion Sanders. Yet here he is, receiving praise in minicamp, showing command and confidence beyond his years. Could he actually be the dark horse in this race? That might be a long shot now, but don't be surprised if by midseason, calls for Sanders to start grow louder, especially if the Browns stumble early. Dillon Gabriel, on the other hand, is another developmental guy. He's shown flashes in college, but he's likely not ready to take meaningful NFL snaps in 2025. The Browns know this, and that's why the smart money says he'll ride the bench and soak it all in, unless injuries or implosions open the door. And that's what makes this all so volatile. One injury, one bad game, and the dominoes start to fall. Fans will call for Flacco, or scream for Sanders, or ask why Pickett's even on the roster. The pressure cooker in Cleveland is heating up, and by the time training camp rolls around, every throw, every rep, every blown snap will be scrutinized like never before. Meanwhile, Jerry Jeudy will be lining up, running precise routes, and hoping that whoever gets the nod can find him consistently. His early comments are telling, not just about the difficulty of the situation, but about the mindset required to survive it. He's adapting. He's staying ready. And that might be what separates the pros from the playmakers in this kind of chaos. This quarterback battle is about more than just skill sets and playbooks. It's about culture. About leadership. About who's willing to step up and take control of a locker room that's seen more turmoil than triumph in recent years. The Browns don't just need a quarterback, they need a cornerstone. And here's where you come in, Browns Nation. You've heard it all. You've seen the struggles, the rebuilds, the flickers of hope. Now we want to know what you think. Who do you want to see as QB1? Are you backing the veteran calm of Joe Flacco, the second chance story of Kenny Pickett, or the rookie spark of Shedeur Sanders? Drop your answers in the comments. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Go Browns!